this week on Carlie's Couch, we're discussing May as Mental Health Month, tips you can use, and ways to improve your mental health.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Carlie's Couch. It's so amazing to see you and be seen here with my lovely co-host, Carlie Carpio.
Gang, gang. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, thank you. And I'm excited to be here as well. My name is Alexia Clincy. Today, we are going to talk about mental health.
Also, you can hire her for voice acting because she actually does that. Y'all don't know that, but that's a cool factoid about Lexi. She had a great crackhead voice, too. So.
They didn't even need to know all that. They didn't even need to know all that. But it's all good. Today, we want to talk about mental health awareness. As May, you may have seen. Actually, I have not seen as much this month as I usually do. Content and, people writing and speaking more to mental health for this month as I usually do. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like when Carlie told me, like, oh, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, we could talk about that. I was like, is it? So it is. Not that this is something we only talk about in May, but it's important and it's relevant right now. So we're going to get to it.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start with, how's your mental health today, Lexi?
Ooh. Oh, it's good today.
And as of late?
Feeling good. Feeling pretty good. You know, the difference in asking me about my mental health and how I'm feeling now versus, I don't know, maybe years ago is that even no matter where I am on the scale of feeling less myself or very much myself, I also am not afraid of anything or worried about anything because I very much know what tools work for me. Mm-hmm. I also know what those instant gratification things are that I know won't have a long lasting effect, but when I'm doing them or if I'm attempting to just feel good really quickly, I also know that I'm choosing that, if that makes sense, right? Like for the most part, knowing I have that control over where I want to be and how I want to feel, then I it's like, oh, I'm always fine, like you always kind of know what's going on. I don't even know if I answered the question, but
you did. And that sounds empowering. It sounds like you've also moved your baseline of like okayness and general countenance up a little bit over the years. Like your equilibrium sounds a little different.
Because, when you don't know what you don't know, or if you haven't felt certain ways or known you can feel a certain way. Mm-hmm. And by that, it's not just like getting out of the depths of depression or like those type of lows. It's not always just that. Even when it's just like, man, you're just lethargic. Like there's some times where like for periods, you're just so used to being like, oh, I'm tired. And so you don't even really think about the other side until you're like, oh, shoot, all of a sudden, like if you have a lot of energy and you feel like you have more mental clarity and it's like, oh, I didn't know I could feel like this. Or, now if I'm feeling like, oh, I feel so tired, it's like that's not your regular go-to. And so you recognize that there's things that can be done to not have to be in that space.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And it makes me think about when I first started doing like my self-love journey. I know you think that that's odd, that's an intention of mine, but it was about 13 years ago at this point. And I remember after I started learning all these tools for mental health, taking better care of myself, like exploring, making it an intention to really love on myself. I remember having that thought like, wow, I didn't know I could be this happy. Mm-hmm. And I'm a pretty optimistic person, always have been, even when I was in the depths of depression or sadness or other things. But I think the biggest piece is having those tools in my toolkit so that I know, but also really learning how to take care of myself. Because like right now, if you're like, oh, how's your mental health? I'm tired, which makes me, because I'm doing a lot of great things. So I'm not like just exhausted, but like I'm literally running all day doing stuff like, and great things. Like yesterday I taught a meditation or like a mindfulness session for a mother-daughter event that I was really excited to be at. Went to Cowboy Carter. Shout out to Beyonce. What's up? all kinds of stuff is amazing, but I'm tired physically, which then makes me more irritable, or I'm like less resilient. Like my resilience starts to wear down the more exhausted I get. Like I forgot my little tap pay thing on the way to the market, and I was like, God dang it. But like when I'm not tired, I got everything. It's easier to be on par. And so I was actually talking to my therapist the other day, and I was like, oh, I'm just like irritated, and I don't, and it's not normal for me to be like this. And he was like, well, you said you're tired, right? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, remember, things start to wear down, like, and that's okay. He was like, but it sounds like you're doing all the things to take care of yourself. I was like, I'm eating right, I'm working out, I'm getting sleep, I'm doing all the stuff. I'm just tired, and that's okay too. And I think that's maybe one big thing I'm thinking about with like Mental Health Awareness Month. Like, it's okay to not always be happy or always be yay. Even if you are that person like me, because I am very excitable, all that. Like, it's okay to have ebbs and flows, but just making sure you're able to take care of yourself during that time.
A big thing too that we have to recognize is how much the mental drain can wear on you from just the thinking about the thing you're supposed to have done, or overthinking what this person said, or a conversation that's upcoming. And one thing I recognize too is that a lot of my physical drain kind of comes from, is a signal like mentally I'm doing too much. So irritability is definitely a huge sign that, all right, let me look at what's going on and now move accordingly, for sure.
Yeah, irritability would be the first sign that I'm not feeling like myself or something is off. Another one, dang, I just had it. So it's irritability. And then another one would be like me not being as playful. So maybe noticing changes in your personality, where normally you'd be like, ah, ha, 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 kiki, and you're like, rawr, at somebody. And they're like, bro, what? We always do this. We're normally good. And I'd be laughing because the first thing I always check is that period app just to make sure. But yeah, another one is like when I'm taking things more seriously or less playful, like more strict.
Yeah, because all of a sudden it's like it just like it gets real short. The amount the capacity you have for other people's stuff or even your own stuff, and that's a big difference from, I know, like I'm feeling best or feeling good when stuff doesn't really matter to me. Like, even if somebody compliments you and you're just like, oh, thanks, but also it's not like that's leading me all through the rest of the day. Or if somebody was like, oh, you looking kind of good today, then it's like, all right, like I either like, yeah, I know, because I didn't put myself together, or I'm like, you're lying, like that doesn't matter to me. So, you could tell by like how much the things around you kind of don't matter. But what do we do when we're like so like, just either numb or down or just don't have the space for anything, right? What can a person do at those points?
Yeah, and it's gonna be annoying, and it has been my salve every time I've been there, is moving my body. So like on one end of the spectrum, I'm just like overwhelmed with emotion. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of stuff. It just feels overwhelming. I like to do, like, one time I remember in college, I got up at 6 a.m., went to the gym and just ran till I cried because I just had so much going on and I couldn't process, and it felt like it was like suffocating, and that helps. But also sometimes on the opposite end, when it's like maybe a lack of feeling or a disconnection or feeling detachment, just going outside for me, like even walking, helps me be in nature and start to be like, oh, maybe life isn't that bad. Like maybe this is okay. And also there's scientific studies about like even a 20-minute walk, how it lights up different areas of your brain, but an hour can release so much serotonin that it can give you a little mini reset. And so I know these things are annoying and that's the last thing you want to do, but I think a lot of times that can be one of the best and quickest and easiest ways to help you just get a little bit of a leg up.
But the wild thing is, like, even though, like, now I know that, but I only really recognize and appreciate movement, and being outside and all of those things as helpful for my mental health after I have, like, surpassed, like, where I got to a point where I was doing it. And now once I was doing it, then I was like, oh, when I don't do it, I could tell the difference. But it's so super hard to still even, just even get started for a lot of people. So it is one of those things where anytime people talk about tips for getting out of a funk, it's like, Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. I feel like the things that help you the most are the things you don't want to do. Like when I'm really that down, I don't want to talk to nobody, but I know that it helps and I know that we can heal in community, but I don't want to fucking talk to nobody. But
Let's talk about that though,
Yeah.
because what is the real benefit though of talking to people? Because sometimes I felt like, what are they going to do? Like they're not going to be able to help anything tactically, you know, like to do anything that's going to be something that like solves the issue at the moment.
yeah, and I think that it doesn't always have to be like that. Like not everything we do is just to solve a problem. And I know when we're down, really down in the depths, you're really just thinking about how to get out or how to feel better. And that doesn't sound like it, but just being there sometimes is helpful. And like I have resistance sometimes when I'm not my best self. Like I don't want to like lash out on nobody. I don't want them to see me like that or feel like I'm a burden sometimes if I feel like too, I don't know, like I'm too like wired up in here and too like rolled up into a ball. I don't want to like mess up anybody else's day or energy. And so that's like a lot of withdrawal. But for me, it's like talking to a therapist if possible. My best friend sometimes they'd be like, I just need you to be here for a little bit with me. And maybe go on a walk with me or not talk with me or just body doubling like on the phone. A big thing of depression or like not or feeling real down is like not cleaning and not taking care of yourself and then doing the things you need to do. So I'm like, all right, for 15 minutes, I'm gonna call my best friend. We're not gonna talk, but we're gonna be on the phone and I'm just gonna do my dishes while she's doing whatever she's doing. And for some reason that really helps me. Like just to have a person there. And I also love the space. So if you are calling somebody, if you do want to check on them, what's wrong? Let's talk about it. Sometimes that's not helpful. But so you can ask the person like, hey, do you just want me to be here? Do you want me to bring you food? Do you just want me to come sit with you? Do you want me to help you clean your dishes if you live near them? My best friend lives in New York, so that's not going to work out. But you can think about other ways to support people that you love without it being trying to fix something for them, because that can also be annoying. Or like force them out of something, but letting them know that they're still loved and that they don't have to show up in a certain way to be worthy of your energy and your presence and your time.
Yeah, you said a lot of good stuff there. Because when you walk in your room and it's just stuff everywhere, it's like, this isn't a good sign. Or when I would look up at my, I had a dry erase calendar where, you know, so you can wipe it off and do the next month. Man, one time I looked up and was like, oh, is it not March 2023? Like, something's off because I'm not keeping up with the stuff that you need to keep up with. And again, sometimes it feels like your capacity just like it's really low.
Yeah, and if you're in tune with yourself, you start to notice like, oh, I skipped my workout. Normally I work out 3 times a week. This has been a week I haven't been to the gym or went running. Normally I take a walk every day. I haven't done that. Normally I do breath work. Haven't done that. I haven't been journaling. Like you start to notice when you've fallen off of your schedule. And I think that's a great sign that something is going on with your mental health. That doesn't mean it's anything crazy, but it is something to pay attention to and not to beat yourself up about, but to in kindness, like look at, okay, what's going on? Like me, like I'm tired and that's okay. Shout out to my therapist. I used to have a therapist like appointment every week and he was like, I feel like I'm not really that helpful. He was like, so we can just do a check-in like once a month if you need it. But the check-ins even still be helpful too. Cause I'm like, I feel like it's going on like this. And he just was like, remember to treat yourself like somebody that you love. He was like, so all this pressure you continue to put on yourself to show up as your highest self when you're doing a lot and you're exhausted is not fair. He's like, you wouldn't do that to anybody in your life. Don't do it to yourself. So just sharing that with you too.
Yeah, taking care of yourself is one of the best things you can do. So dependent on your level of like energy and capacity, doing also what you say you're going to do is also a big confidence booster too. So it might be as simple as, I'm going to drink these 2 things of water today or a day, or I'm going to try to go outside and do like a 5-minute walk every day. If there's just something you can kind of do that's for yourself or your health, if you can do like, I'm gonna run every day, or I'm gonna do, whatever else, or even following my usual morning routine, I'm gonna try to be strict this week and go to bed by a certain time. Just kind of doing and accomplishing what you say, and when there are things that are good for you, is so good mentally. It'll make you feel better, and then of course, if it's good habits that you're doing, then you feel better as well. Nothing has been as good for my mental health, literally as much as health, and changing my diet and the insides, because it cleared out like the highways to like better mental health. That doesn't make sense, but it does make sense if we're talking about the axis and all that, right? Like yeah, like when your body can work the way it's supposed to work, now I'm not having the same issues. Drastically different. There's one year, maybe like 23 or 22, and I was like, man, I just feel so like blah. Like, let me just try an antidepressant to see if this makes any difference, or like, what is the big like hoorah of what this does. And immediately I was like, oh, like it cleared my whole head up and all of that. Then after a while, I was like, I might not need it as much. I started doing, I went to see my nutritionist. Then when I got on like my gut health program, when I started cleaning things out from the inside, then I tapered off of it. And then it's like, now I'm like, oh, wow, this is really the key. Like, I don't have to take a thing when I can like actually clean up. So for me, that made a huge difference. And that made other health things easier, like actually, working out and talking to people, being outside, and doing all the other things, right? So it's kind of just like where can you take a first step? And if it needs to be therapy, if it needs to be a prescription for something, like whatever it needs to be, is still a good starting place. And recognize that there are other habits that you could probably start to form that will also make it even easier for you as well to feel better.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that momentum will carry you forward. So if it feels overwhelming, if it feels like, oh, that's too much, my house is a mess, I feel exhausted, all these things, pick one thing. Do it for 5 minutes.
That's the real key, momentum. Whatever you can get some momentum on, and yeah, that's the key.
And so, for example, like me, I'm tired. It looked like a tornado hit my house. There's a tornado. And because I had like a market and so much going on. And I was like, all right, I'm going to set a timer. I got 15 minutes. Go do as much as you can in the kitchen. Next room. Boom, boom, boom. And you start to feel it. You start to feel good. You start to feel livable in your space. But that also works for working out. It doesn't have to be insanity. Like, you don't have to get the DVDs and do all that nonsense. You could literally go take a walk around the block. Start stretching. Try 5 push-ups, then 10. Maybe you start with 1. Like, whatever the thing is, like, I think that that's the benefit, and it's the thing we want to do the least that is a lot of times the things that we need to do the most.
Yeah, most of the time. Most of the time. Like, the real goal is, like, those long-term things are so much better. Short-term gratification is great, though. Like, when you need something, you need a quick Band-Aid, cool. And just know that also that's not opening you up as like a vessel that can bring in more, just doing these quick things. It kind of keeps you closed, and it's definitely understandable that sometimes you do what you have to do.
I kind of not bully, but kind of a little bit. People like, how you doing? Good. Okay, great. What kind of good? And that works. I would talk to the kids, but also some of my friends, because I think it's important to really check in. And one of my friends was like, oh, thank you. He used to get real irritated. And now he's like, oh, thank you. Because it actually makes me like think about how I'm actually doing. He's like, I realize this is a defense mechanism to just be like, yeah, good. Like, all right. But now he like checks in, and also showing people that you can show up as not your best version of yourself and still have community and still have people be there. Like, I don't need you to be fake. I don't need you to be no other way than how you're feeling right now. And let's just work with that. And that's fine.
And sometimes you do have to force yourself to show up a certain way, because then your body will follow suit. Like, there's a little bit of fake it till you make it. Like, it might be stupid if it's like, oh, smile, you're not feeling good. But also when you start smiling or put a funny movie on or can laugh, then you actually you do feel a little bit better in that moment.
That's a good thing to talk about, because our nervous systems know a certain level. So when I was talking earlier, when I asked you how you were, it sounded like you moved your equilibrium up to be a little lighter, a little more present, a little less maybe all over the place. But if you are raised in a certain way and your nervous system is used to chaos, like, you tend to perpetrate those things in your life because your body feels safer, because at least it's a known something, which is better than an unknown. And so I would just want to say, like, and then talking about mental health, like, things can get better. They don't always have to be the way that they've always been. And there are steps that you can take to start retraining your nervous system, to start clearing up your gut health, to start, fixing your hormones and getting your serotonin together and helping you see more joy and more things in life. Like, there's always more you can do to love on yourself and help you get through stuff. It doesn't always have to be the way that it's always been. Yeah. So take some time this month to think like how you're doing, like actually check in with yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the leaves. Think about the things that bring you joy and notice if they marry up. Are you doing the best things that you can for yourself in the moment? Love to hear from you.
Adios.